Jake, the new sheriff, finds his SUV Midnight's battery stolen by HOA bully Karen. She smirks, thinking he's weak. But Jake's sharp, ready to outsmart her. "She doesn't know who I am," he says, eyeing Midnight. Justice is coming and Karen's in for a shock. Jake Harper stood by his black SUV Midnight, its dark shine glowing under the sun. A tough ex-cop with a sharp mind, he'd just moved to a fancy gated neighborhood to start fresh as the new sheriff. The small town looked peaceful, big houses, green lawns, but it had a boss, Karen, the HOA president. She acted like a queen, spying on everyone, barking about rules like no loud music or wrong-colored curtains. Jake didn't care for her nonsense. Midnight, named for its bold, mysterious look, was his pride. He loved its power, his partner in this new life. But today trouble hit. Jake turned the key and Midnight didn't start. He checked the hood, the battery was gone. His stomach twisted. Across the street, Karen smirked on her porch, holding a shiny new wrench. Jake knew it was her. She thought he was just another neighbor to push around, someone to scare with her fines and nosy ways. She had no idea he was the sheriff, a guy who'd outsmarted real crooks and loved justice. Jake felt angry but stayed calm. His cop brain spotted clues fast. Karen's wrench looked too clean, like she'd just used it. Her smug grin screamed guilt. He wanted to march over, but instead he gave a small smile, muttering, "She doesn't know who I am." His eyes locked on Midnight, its black curves gleaming like a friend waiting for payback. This wasn't just about a battery, it was personal. Karen had messed with the wrong guy. The neighborhood buzzed quietly. Kids played, neighbors watched from windows, sensing drama. Jake's cool vibe hit a plan. He'd get even, not just for himself but for everyone Karen bullied. Midnight stood ready, and so was he. Jake Harper wasn't one to rush in blindly. Karen had stolen Midnight's battery and he was mad, but he'd play it smart. He wanted hard proof to nail her and a plan to teach her a lesson she'd never forget. As the new sheriff, he knew how to dig for truth without tipping his hand. Midnight, his sleek black SUV, sat quietly in his driveway, its dark shine urging him to act. Jake patted its hood, whispering, "We'll get her, buddy." First, he checked the neighborhood security cameras. Sheriff Perks gave him access. Late at night, grainy footage showed Karen in a dark hoodie creeping near Midnight. Her wrench glinted as she popped the hood. Jake's jaw tightened, but he grinned. "Got you," he muttered. Next he needed more. He strolled to Karen's house, pretending to ask about HOA rules. She was all smiles, but Jake tripped near her garage, peeking inside. There it was, his battery tucked behind a tarp, his initials scratched on it. His blood boiled, but he kept cool, chatting like nothing was wrong. Back home, Jake talked to neighbors. Stories poured out. Karen's unfair fines for tiny things like untrimmed bushes, missing tools, even stolen garden gnomes to scare folks into obeying her. She was a bully and Jake's resolve grew. He'd take her down for everyone. But Karen noticed him sniffing around. One morning, a fake HOA fine appeared on Midnight for bad parking. She spread rumors, calling Jake a troublemaker. At the mailbox she smirked, saying, "Follow my rules or else." Jake just smiled, his voice low. "I'm good at finding things people hide." Her eyes flickered, nervous, but she hid it. The tension was electric. Karen strutted like she owned the place, her confidence loud as she bossed neighbors around. Meanwhile, Jake stayed quiet, his determination a slow burn. One evening he washed Midnight, its black exterior gleaming under the streetlights, looking fierce. "No one messes with you," he vowed, his reflection sharp in the SUV's curves. The neighborhood felt like a chessboard. Karen thought she was queen, but Jake was moving his pieces. Viewers would feel the heat, Karen's smug grin clashing with Jake's calm stare, her petty power moves against his clever traps. Every clue tightened the screws, hinting Jake was one step ahead, ready to flip the game. Jake Harper had enough of Karen's games. He decided to hit her where it hurt most, her pride. The next HOA meeting was coming, where she planned to announce stricter rules to tighten her grip on the neighborhood. Jake saw his chance. He'd expose her in front of everyone, letting her taste the shame she dished out. His black SUV Midnight would be part of the plan, a silent partner in his comeback. Late at night, Jake sneaked into Karen's garage, moving like a shadow. He found his stolen battery, grabbed it, and slipped it back into Midnight. The SUV roared to life, its engine a low growl of victory. But Jake wasn't done. He collected damning proof. Security footage of Karen creeping around, photos of her garage stuffed with stolen goods, his battery, a neighbor's toolbox, even a kid's bike. He knocked on doors, quietly getting neighbors to share stories of her bullying, their voices shaking but firm. Everyone wanted her gone. Jake needed a spark to light the fuse. He met Tim, a tech-savvy kid next door who hated Karen's rules. Over sodas, Jake pitched his idea and Tim's eyes lit up. "I can hack the HOA's projector," he said, grinning. They planned to hijack Karen's big meeting. As the day neared, Karen grew cocky. Thinking Jake had backed off, she strutted into the meeting hall, ready to gloat. She even jabbed at him, smirking, "That fancy SUV of yours doesn't scare me, Jake." The crowd murmured, but Jake just leaned back, his smile cool as ice. Outside, midnight loomed under the streetlights, its black shine sharp, like it knew what was coming. Inside, suspense crackled. Jake nodded to Tim, who fiddled with wires in the back. The projector hummed, warming up. Karen rambled on, bragging about fixing the neighborhood, oblivious to the storm brewing. Quick flashes, Jake's steady eyes, Tim's quick fingers, Karen's smug laugh, kept the air tight. The audience leaned in, sensing her fall was close, ready for Jake to flip the script. The HOA meeting buzzed with tension as Karen stood at the front, her voice dripping with pride, preaching new rules. Jake Harper sat in the back, his face calm but eyes sharp. The room was packed, neighbors shifting in their seats, unaware of the bomb about to drop. Jake stood, his voice steady. "I've got something to share," he said. Karen scoffed, rolling her eyes. Tim, the tech kid, grinned from the corner and hit a switch. The projector flickered to life and gasps echoed as a video played. Karen, caught red-handed, sneaking around midnight at night, wrench in hand, stealing its battery. More clips followed, her creeping into yards, snatching tools, scaring neighbors with her glares. The room erupted in whispers. Karen's face froze, her smug grin fading. Jake stepped forward, his sheriff's badge glinting under the lights. "I'm the new sheriff," he said, voice like steel. "And I filed a report this morning." He held up Midnight's battery, his initials carved clear on its side, then pointed to a table where Tim had laid out stolen goods from Karen's garage. A bike, a lamp, a mailbox. "This ends now." Neighbors turned on her, their voices rising. "Step down," one shouted. Another clapped, then more joined, the sound swelling like thunder. Karen's cheeks burned red, her hands shaking as she stammered excuses. She bolted for the door, heels clicking, but Jake was ready. Outside, Midnight blocked her car, its black shine glowing fierce under the streetlights, like a guard dog waiting. Karen fumbled her keys, panic in her eyes. Jake strolled out, leaning against his SUV, casual but commanding. "Going somewhere?" he asked, tossing the battery in his hand like a trophy. Sirens wailed as deputies pulled up, their lights flashing. Karen's shoulders slumped, her reign over. The crowd spilled outside, cheering as deputies questioned her. Midnight stood tall, its curves catching every eye, a hero in the victory glow. Neighbors high-fived, their faces lit with relief. Jake gave Tim a nod, the kid beaming. Karen's downfall felt sweet, her smugness shattered. Jake glanced at Midnight, its presence as bold as his win, and smirked. The neighborhood was free and justice tasted good. The dust settled after Karen's takedown, and the neighborhood felt lighter, like a storm had passed. Karen was forced to resign from the HOA, her name now tied to shame. Deputies charged her with petty theft for the battery and other stolen goods, and whispers followed her everywhere. The community didn't waste time. They elected a new president, Mrs. Larson, a kind woman who promised fair rules and no spying. Neighbors smiled again, their yards free of Karen's nitpicking. Jake Harper, the new sheriff, became their hero. Kids waved when he passed and folks tipped their hats, grateful for his courage. He'd turned a bully's kingdom into a real home. Jake felt different too. He'd come to this town looking for a fresh start, unsure if he'd fit in. Now, standing by Midnight, his sleek black SUV, he knew he belonged. Bringing justice to Karen wasn't just about his battery, it was about standing up for what's right. One evening he took Midnight for a victory drive, its engine roaring like a cheer. The black curves gleamed under streetlights as he cruised through town. Neighbors spotted him, waving from porches, their faces bright with trust. Jake grinned, his hands steady on the wheel. Midnight felt alive, a partner who'd been with him through it all. As the sun dipped low, painting the sky orange, Jake's phone buzzed. A deputy's voice crackled through, a new case, something bigger, a mystery brewing on the town's edge. Jake's eyes sparked with excitement. "Looks like Midnight and I have more work to do," he said, a smirk tugging at his lips. He pulled over, the SUV idling strong, and patted its hood. "Good job, partner," he chuckled, giving it a firm tap. Midnight seemed to hum back, ready for whatever came next. The road stretched ahead and Jake hit the gas, Midnight speeding into the sunset, its black shine cutting through the dusk. Neighbors watched, some cheering, sensing he was off to save the day again. The air buzzed with hope, the promise of new adventures hanging like stars. Jake's laugh echoed as the SUV roared, a team unbreakable, their story just beginning.